You know, it's an interesting time. I've been here, this is my 6th year. I'm getting ready to term out. And unfortunately, in that period of time, we really have very short legislative memories. Most of you were not here, unfortunately, 5 years ago when we started. We started 5 years ago with a budget that was around $71 billion. We now have a general fund budget of $104 billion. I don't know for you, but to me that's a lot of money. We have increased the size and scope of government fairly dramatically in that period of time. According to the budget chair, and I won't mention his name because it's against Rule 25, but he stated earlier that we have about a $7 billion hole. That's about 7%, a little less than 7% of a $104 billion budget. Today, there's been statements made that this is not a budget drill. This is not just a drill, a pointless exercise to make a political point. This is really an earnest request. Well, the reality of it is, this is a 54-vote bill. You proposed it as such, knowing that you'd have to have bipartisan support and knowing full well that you had no bipartisan support, nor bipartisan conversations about this bill before we came in here tonight. So if this is not a drill, what is it? Of course it's a drill. In fact, you've told us all now this is not the last drill we're going to have. You're going to bring a whole bunch of other drills before this body to show the state of California the difference between the two parties. Is that what this is about? Is that what you were elected to do? Is to show the difference between the two parties? I think California is sick and tired of that. I think they asked us to come here and solve problems and to govern. Didn't ask you to do political drills. I've read of $25 billion. This is just the beginning, a small little beginning of proposed taxes that you're going to try to foist on Californians that are already beleaguered right now, folks. And it's not just our children. It's working families. Don't you get it? We have a downturned economy. California gets it. It's the #1 issue on the minds of the state right now. And yet you're going to sit there and say you need to pay more for gas. And none of you are silly enough to not know that. Of course you know that. Every time you raise prices, we pay it and pay it and pay it. Now, can't you tell me, when we start with a $71 billion budget when I got here 5 years ago, and that's not that long, folks, and we have a $104 billion budget that we can't work together to figure out how to cut 7% in spending? 7%. Listen, a couple years ago I ran a bill. It got approved. We studied the outstanding debts owed to the state of California by 7 agencies. We just got the results of that today. We have $5.5 billion of uncollected debt. People owe us in the state of California. Why don't you work with us to go out and get it? This is undoubtedly owed to us. $4.2 billion of that has been owed to us for over a year and a half. Why aren't you working with us instead of doing a drill? Why do we have to stand on this floor until late at night to sit there and re-espouse our philosophies when you promise not to be Democrats, not to be Republicans, but to govern the state of California together? Where is that? All this does is drive the wedges between us. We need to work together to solve the problems of the state of California, and I think together we can do it. But you got to roll up your sleeves. You can't just pontificate. You can't sit there and use stunts. We need to work together, and we need to solve problems. No more of this, please. Please don't make me do this 7 times this year. I have better things to do than to go through a budget drill. We need to work together. We're asking you to work together. We're asking you to consider our ideas also. Please vote no on this tax. You know it's going to put people in an even harder way than they are now. Let's roll up our sleeves and work together.